Hello, everybody. A very warm welcome to Talking Business Weekly with me, Aaron Hazelhurst. Let's go and take a look at what's on the show. Hey, need more money? How about a side hustle? As millions look for ways to make extra cash to meet the rising cost of living, we're going to take a look at the boom in the second jobs market.
Does your Outlook signature need a makeover? Here's the trick for adding your photo and clickable icons into your signature.
Whether it's giving software tips on TikTok or starting a global travel company, the side hustle can lead to riches and rewards, but it can also open up people to being the victim of scammers. I'm going to be talking about the possibilities and the perils of the side hustle with these two. There they are, Kat Norton, whose side gig on TikTok has changed her life, and Erin Whitty from the Consumer Federation of America on how not to get scammed by online side hustles that are, well, too good to be true. Plus, I talked to the big boss of the travel company Flix on how he turned his side hustle into a global transport disruptor. Wherever you're watching me from around the world, once again, a big hello and a warm welcome to the show. You know, the side hustle, it's become a watchword for a new generation who, well, want to make a bit more cash. But it's a newish term for an old-fashioned idea, making some money on the side while still working another job. Some of the biggest companies in the world were started as side hustles.
We're going to make some history together today.
Apple Computers, it was founded by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak when they were employed at Atari and Hewlett-Packard, respectively. Facebook started as a side hustle for Mark Zuckerberg when he was a student. And Jack Dorsey started what would become Twitter in 2005 while working at a podcasting company. Today, the interest in side hustles, it is growing massively as the rising cost of living drives people, well, to look for ways to make a bit more cash. Younger people, in particular, are looking at side hustles. A global survey of thousands of people for Microsoft found that an extraordinary 70% of Gen Z or Gen Z, or people in their teens and 20s, are considering or already have a side hustle. Other surveys have found that in the United States, 4 out of 10 adults had a side hustle in 2022. Here in the UK, nearly half of Brits are, well, they're considering a side hustle. That's according to the web hosting firm GoDaddy, which found that 85% of them were driven by the rising cost of living. GoDaddy also found that globally, 57% of side hustles are run by women. My first guest started her side hustle during the pandemic. She began by simply giving tips on how to use Excel spreadsheet software on the social media platform TikTok. Today, it's definitely making enough money that she was able to leave her old job behind. Kat Norton, or Miss Excel, a real pleasure having you on the show. And thanks so much for your time. And Kat, let's start with this. Simply, how did you start your side hustle?
Yeah, so it all began back in June of 2020. I started posting Microsoft Excel tip videos on TikTok. And within 4 days, I had my first video hit 100,000 views. And then by the 6th day, I got approached by an IT company to take on a side hustle, making training videos for their company for students, parents, and teachers in G Suite products. So by day 6, I was, making content, had a side hustle, was still working 40 hours at my day job. I worked at a consulting firm. And then within a few weeks, the Miss Excel accounts quickly went viral on social media. I looked down one day and I had over 100,000 followers. And then I kept going and creating more content across the platforms and scaling up the audience, and really just providing the free content was something that was lighting me up. So I was having a great time doing it. And then I started creating courses later on that year.
And Kat, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't make the income from the TikTok platform, do you? You use it to link to other sites.
So a few months in, I had around a few 100,000 followers across the platforms. And I was looking for a way to serve people on a deeper level, because the free content, it was short, it was cute, it was quick, and people were learning from it. But a lot of them wanted that more of a full course experience. So I built out the most fun, entertaining Excel course I could possibly imagine, and started selling that November of 2020. And then a couple months later, it was actually bringing in more passive income than my day job was every month. So at that point, I was like, well, if the day job's getting 40 hours, the side hustle's getting like 10 hours. Maybe I need to reprioritize. So I ended up leaving my day job in January of 2021. And then I built out 9 more courses across the Microsoft Office suite, Google Sheets, a kids course, and started bundling them and selling them together.
Kat, what kind of time commitment does it take now?
Really now, I'd say it's like a few hours a day at most, but I pretty much make my own schedule, right? So for example, we went actually and traveled around Europe for a month, and I really didn't work much at all during that time and kind of let the business run itself. I have an awesome team now. And then other times though, I really do like to work on the business, and I made sure to build a business around the lifestyle that I wanted, because I didn't want to create another situation like my corporate job was that was kind of not really lighting me up.
And Kat, when you started the side hustle, did the company that you were working for, did they mind?
No, they were incredibly supportive. Incredibly supportive, even up until the point where I left as well. Like they were all cheering me on my way out the door, and I actually work with them now as one of my corporate clients.
Wow.
So I also do trainings for companies and for organizations, and they bring me in to host live sessions. So they actually brought me back on now as a vendor.
Oh, it's a win-win. Yeah, Kat, younger people, correct me if I'm wrong here, because it feels like this. Younger people are more likely to side hustle. Why do you think that's so?
I mean, it really depends on the person, I think, too, right? Because I've seen people all across the different age groups. I do think that the younger generations were exposed to social media at a much earlier age. So it's something that's super familiar to them. And I know, I forget what statistic it was, but it was something around like a very large percentage of young people and Gen Zers want to be YouTube stars or social media stars when they grow up. So it's something that, wasn't around back in the day. So now it's something that's just becoming more normalized for those younger generations. But that being said, I've seen people across all ages do incredible things on social media.
And Kat, you mentioned you started the side hustle in 2020. I mean, smack bang in the middle of the pandemic. Did the pandemic actually help you in that sense?
It did, in the sense that it helped shake me off the current path I was on. I was a business consultant traveling every week for 3.5 years straight. I was just traveling every Monday. I would hop on a plane, fly to a different state in the US, fly home every Thursday. So I didn't really have time to kind of like look up and be like, is this what I want to do with my life? Is this lighting me up right now? I had a good time doing it, but it really wasn't fulfilling me from a creative perspective. So when I had stopped traveling due to the pandemic, I was back in my childhood bedroom of my parents' house and working my day job in my little room, and was like, got some time to think here. And that's where I started kind of thinking of different side hustle ideas and things I could create, because I also had more time on my hands. Traveling took up a big chunk of my week.
Okay, Kat, I don't ask many people this, but I've got you in front of me. I'm going to have to ask you. How much money do you make doing this?
So this past year, we did over $2 million.
Shut the front door. No. Ian, I've said it to you before, we're in the wrong job. The company made $2 million doing Excel spreadsheet lessons, if you will.
Yeah. And it's really,
Wow.
For me, it's not about the money though. Like I look at that number as a testament to how many people I got to help that year, right? So taking a look at it, like the bigger that number is, the more people were in the courses and the more people were elevating themselves at work every day, showing up more confident, getting promotions and raises. And that's really the part that lights me up, and then kind of the business flows along with it.
Let me end on this. What's next, Kat, for Miss Excel?
So I'm just looking to really expand the brand globally. And it's something that I really want to just be able to create more courses and grow the business and help as many people as I can. So that's this year, we're really tightening up our systems and working to get our courses out there in the world.
Well, Kat, my show is global, and you're going to get a lot of eyeballs, and I only take 20% commission. So that's it. There you go. Okay?
Love it.
Kat Norton, a real pleasure having you on the show. Good. I don't need to say good luck with everything, but we'll check in with you soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, with the rise of new ways of making money, there's also the rise of people selling fake promises or scamming people with offers of side hustles they can do from home. Often, these scams, they hide behind offers of work which, well, at first seem legitimate, and only when you're further down the line do you realize it's all a scam. In just 3 months of last year, America's Federal Trade Commission found that fake business and job opportunities led Americans to being scammed out of nearly $70 million in just 3 months. Those people, they're often the most vulnerable, and as the cost of living goes up, there are fears that more will fall prey to scammers. So, I caught up with the Director of Consumer Protection for the Consumer Federation of America. Erin Whitty, a real pleasure having you on the show. And Erin, let's start with this. I mean, basically, are there more scams going on these days? And if so, why?
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. So there definitely are more scams. I think that we really saw an increase in 2020. Of course, this was during a global pandemic. People were home, they were spending more time on social media, scanning the internet, and this really created a fertile ground for criminals to specifically design and target schemes that were just designed to steal people's money. And unfortunately, it was quite effective. And so we had this fertile ground that was created in 2020. And then in the past year, we've seen costs increasing tremendously for consumers all over the world. We have things like inflation, housing prices are rising, jobs are more competitive, and consumers have really felt the pressure more recently to feel like they need to find more money. And this, again, combined with criminals who are paying attention to these trends, they know what's going on. They are constantly morphing and changing their scams in ways that are more effectively going to steal your money. Another thing that we've seen is an increase in the way that social media is used to promote what are often scams, or at least deceptively touted business schemes. It's almost impossible to scroll TikTok or YouTube without seeing tremendous content that has taglines like earn $1,000 a day, earn money while you sleep. This get-rich-quick scheme is not new, but it is particularly pervasive in social media. Recent studies have also shown that, again, criminals know this, right? And Gen Z consumers in particular have stated that they are more likely to go to things like YouTube or TikTok for their financial advice. So when we have criminals who know this, who are becoming more sophisticated, who are constantly changing the way that they target certain populations, it is unfortunately going to keep being effective.
So that said, Erin, what are some of the red flags people should look for?
So some of the most common schemes that we see can really range, right? There can be some legitimate opportunities to earn money as a side hustle. I'm a personal trainer in my spare time, to the extent that I have any. But in addition to my full-time work, there may be ways to do that. But there are certainly things to look out for if you are solicited with one of these quote-unquote business opportunities. Things like drop shipping, where you can create an online store and sell things directly from the manufacturer to the consumer. Also things like being a mystery shopper, online surveys, or sometimes even multi-level marketing. A common theme that we really see with these side hustles are taglines like earn money while you sleep. They solicit people who have maybe not specific skills for what they're being solicited for, or that they don't have to do much to earn a lot of money. There are also things that are just outright scams, like business coaching programs or investment coaching opportunities. This is where you pay someone to coach you, or you purchase coaching sessions to help grow your business or even start a business. But the only thing that these really do is take a lot of money from you, and then the scammer will probably just then recruit you to start making your own videos or trying to sell your own quote-unquote business opportunity to somebody else, all the while just lying to you about the amount of money that you might make.
So, Erin, it really is a case of, if it sounds too good to be true, huh?
Sure, that's always great advice, but I think it's also just to remember that criminals are targeting you, right? This isn't just a mishap. It's often you were the subject of a very targeted design scheme. Scammers can take information that they've gained from years of doing this and see what's worked and what hasn't. And if they send out 10,000 solicitations and they get maybe 10 people to respond, that's a payoff for them, right? They know how this operates and they're good at doing it.
So, Erin, what kind of research should people do before diving in?
Well, I find that the best advice is simple. right? There are endless websites that you can look at that will give you advice about what to look for, what to do, and there's a lot of things. But I like to keep it very simple. And the acronym that I actually use for this is SCAM. SCAM. What are some practical steps that you can take? The S stands for slow down. Take a second. If you're being solicited by an outside company for a limited time offer, or they're using high pressure tactics that you have to ask now, that's a big red flag and something that you should really be cautious about. The second letter is C, and that stands for checks and cards. If you're being asked to cash a check or deposit a check and send money back to the company, or to purchase gift cards and send them back to the company, that's a big red flag. The A in SCAM is ask questions, right? Ask Google, ask your mom, ask a trusted friend, ask somebody that you know will give you sound advice. And you can really pair this with the S and slow down. It gives you an opportunity to look this up. One really simple thing is to Google the name of the company or the opportunity and the word scam. You'll be amazed at what pops up. And finally, the M is to make a report to your government regulator. The more data that they have and the more reports and numbers and information about how it's being designed and targeted, the better outreach that they can do, and perhaps even law enforcement to go after some of these criminals.
And Erin, let me end on this. Are you concerned that people are more susceptible as we endure this cost of living crisis?
Absolutely. Like, this increased pressure on consumers to earn more money might make them more susceptible, but I think more importantly, it gives a big tool to criminals who are designing these schemes and this conduct. So consumers might be out there looking more often than they otherwise would have, and deceptive videos or website content can make it seem like it's very easy. But the fact is that often it's not. You have to put in a lot of time and a lot of effort. Unless you can capitalize on an existing skill, it's something where you don't go into this with the expectation that you are going to earn a lot of money. Maybe it's just something that you're doing for fun. But again, I think it's more important to focus on the fact that this is really a tool for criminals, so that when you see something that comes across your social media that maybe you weren't expecting, just remember, someone is out there designing that content because they know that you're going to see it and you're exactly who they're going after.
Erin Whitty, a real pleasure having you on the show. Thanks for all that advice. Really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much, Erin. It's great to have you. Bye.
Well, so far on the show, we've been hearing about people taking on a side hustle, some with success.